Hey friends, I am super excited to show you this project I worked on today. It is a home, a shelf sitter with magnetic monthly little circle wood things that we can put on to display each month. And it's in my Etsy listing, and there are gobs. So let me tell you what's in the Etsy listing. There are 3 circles each month for each month in the size 3 inches. Well, they're slightly bigger than 3 inches. And then the same thing, there's 3 for each month in the slightly bigger than 4 inches. So that is 72 little monthly circles that you can use. You can decide on what size you want, the 3-inch or the 4-inch wood rounds to do this, or you can use them for other decoupage projects or paper crafting, card making, things like that. I get these wood rounds on Amazon, and the link will be below. But anyway, also in my Etsy listing are little the little home plaques and there's several different sizes and phrases to choose from. So that will be in the Etsy listing as well. So right now I've got 12 of these 3-inch wood rounds, and I'm putting a layer of Mod Podge on all 12 of them. Then just giving them a quick dry with my heat tool. And now I'm putting the papers on each one, and the paper is slightly bigger than the wood round, so I'm just kind of centering them over top of the wood round. And I'm just doing 3 at a time, and then I'll put my parchment paper over the top of those and use my mini heat press to iron those on. The heat reactivates the Mod Podge, and it just adheres it really well onto those wood rounds. Just keep going round and round, and then I'll lift up the parchment paper and check and make sure the edges are down really well. And I'll set those aside to cool off, and I'll do 3 more at a time. So I've got all 12 of them done now, and I'm sanding off the excess all around and making a smooth edge all the way around the circle. And I'll do this with all 12. And there's some really cute images to choose from. This set I'm using on this has the month on each one, the month or the holiday. Like for July, it has Independence Day on instead, but they all say the month. On the other images, they're just images that represent that month, that holiday, or that season. And so now that I've got all the Mod Podge, or all the images, adhered down, I'm putting a layer of Mod Podge on top of those, and I dry those and give it a good dry as well. So they are sealed on there nicely. So now I'm just using burnt umber acrylic paint by Apple Barrel, and I'm going to paint the back and the edges. Just kind of give it a finished look. I'm going to be putting this in a little craft boutique next week, and so I want it to look finished and nice. So I painted the back, and I'm going to give that a dry, and then now I'm getting all the edges. And I'm leaving the front as is. Oh, and I failed to say, I got this little house at Dollar Tree. I love it when these show up. These are fun. They've got the shiplap look on the front with the little indented lines. So I'm just leaving the front as is. And I did get just a couple little spots of paint on the front of the edges, but I'm just sanding that right off and kind of sanding the sides and the back as well, just so it's not as thick and just a little more roughed up. Smoothing it out and distressing the edges slightly. This is my new desktop vacuum cleaner. I love it. It gets all of the sawdust, all the paint particles, all the crumbs, different things like that. So now I'm just laying it on there and trying to decide where I'm going to have the circle. And then I've got this ticking fabric that I tore off in strips. And I actually ironed this. I usually don't when I make it bows and things like that. But for this, I wanted it nice and smooth. But it's got the torn edges. And so I'm going to glue that all the way around towards the bottom. I thought this looked really nice doing it this way. You could put ribbon, you could do a float check ribbon. You don't have to do any ribbon at all. You could use twine or burlap ribbon. So now I'm going to cut one of my signs out, and I can't remember which one I used. Home in Every Season, I believe, is what the one I'm going to use. And these measure 3 inches by 1 1/4 inch. And then you'll see me glue that onto a piece of leftover chipboard. And I leave about, in between an 1/8 inch and a 1/4 inch of, probably closer to an 1/8 inch border all the way around the white paper. And then I'll just cut off the extra. I'm just using my Tombow liquid glue. So I'm just placing it on there so there's roughly about an 1/8 inch border. And then I'm testing my freehand skills and cutting the other edges off. And then I will do the same. I'm going to distress these with Tim Holtz Distress Ink just lightly, just to define those edges more or less. And then I'm going to place this on black cardstock. And I'll give that about an 1/8 inch border as well. And then I will glue that in the center above that ticking fabric. So there I'm putting it on the black cardstock, and I'll cut off that excess. Just making sure I cut straight and getting it all fixed up. And like I said, I will glue that on now. I'll use hot glue for this part. I thought that turned out so cute. I really like the looks of that. So now I'm trying to decide where I'm going to put the circles, and then I'm going to cut. I've got these 4x6 adhesive magnetic strips. And so I measure now, I thought 1 1/2 by 1 1/2 inch squares would be a good size to put on the backs of each circle. So I'm making sure I'm just measuring 1 1/2 inches both directions. Just making some little marks, and then I will make some lines. And it didn't write on that shiny plastic very well, but I could see marks on it good enough to cut. So I'm cutting 13 of those squares because I will need one for each of the 12 circles and then one to place on the house itself. So I'll just cut all those squares. I get 8 from each sheet. And then it leaves a little strip that I can use for something else. Now on this first one I grabbed, it's December, I just placed it on the back, not thinking that I wanted the squares to exactly line up on my project. So when I realized I did that, it still would have worked, I believe. So here I'm showing, it should have been more square with the top and the bottom of the December circle. So I will fix that one off camera. So now I'm making sure I have my circle straight, and then I turn it upside down and place my magnet. And then I place the other one facing it and then put it where I want it on the board, and that stuck it right on where I needed it. So now I've got them all on there, and they look so cute. And I hope this inspires you to make something similar. Appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel. And you have a whimsical day. Thanks so much.